did walk last year, and it's usually like quite unbreakable, like a long trot.
Yeah.
And at the end of last summer, he was answering actually like pretty nicely. He's sick.
Okay.
But like he had from October to January off.
Okay. So that's why, again, like kind of hard to horses too, you know, they grow, they take a little bit longer. It's really, really common for horses until they're, especially when they're larger, until they're like 7, to have some issues in the canter because if he's in any kind of awkward growth spurt, the discomfort that they feel in the canter often comes through. So most of the time, it's not quite behavioral, it's the body's kind of catching up and they don't really know how to communicate otherwise, right? So it would make sense that, because you typically go through a couple months where you're like, oh, things are fine, and all of a sudden it's losing your mind, and you're like, what happened? But it's pretty common, right? So, again, we'll work together for a bit. We can run through the test, even if the cancer doesn't happen, obviously we're here because it doesn't happen. Yeah. I'm not going to like bring you out if you haven't trod in a circle, right? So,
he never acts like that on one line. Like he never does that. Sometimes he'll take off and do like a little circle, like kind of running.
Yeah.
But he never bucks or rears or anything. So I don't know if
sort of like what the heck is that?
yeah. So I don't like if I'm being honest, I don't particularly like watch cancer accuracy in that.
Yeah.
But
Also, we don't have to go.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay if I just get ready to find and clean out the front.
Yeah.
You're the one sitting up there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I thought I was signed up for walk trot until like a few days ago.
Okay.
I believe it was like just your grade level. If you don't cancer, then you
Doesn't
don't.
matter.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We'll work with the walk trot here. If you feel good, if you feel comfortable, and you feel like we can maybe try a canter, we will. But again, I'll leave that up to you. So if you're like absolutely not, that's fine with you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to sacrifice anybody today. So good vibes only.
Yeah.
So if we're going to talk training level, so even if the canter doesn't happen today, that's the goal, right? So how do we make training level? It kind of comes down to rhythm and geometry, right? It's not that it's not complicated because there's a lot of things going on in the riding path, but when everything's kind of on the table and you can only pick 1 or 2 things to focus on, especially with the young horse, right? The one thing you really want to do, for me, sitting down there, is hit your mark. So even if you got upside down, even if you're running a little bit, even if you bend to the outside, go up, if you can try to hit the letters of the letters, circle on the circle, and stay on the center line, you're still going to hold some pretty decent mark. Most of the emphasis at walk, trot, and training, because they are literally the basis of everything, is just consistency, which is your rhythm, which is the balance of the horse in terms of the footfalls, and making sure that the geometry is understood. Especially with some of the collective marks like the rider mark. I mean, rider mark is about sitting pretty and looking like, you know, fairly solid. But a portion of the rider mark also goes into how well the test is executed, right? If the horse is fairly agreeable, you hit your marks, you're focusing on kind of the right pieces of the puzzle, you're going to get a pretty good rider mark. So, you know, from me, if you have a test where, for example, you hit all your geometry, but let's say neither cancer happened, I can still throw a 7 or 7.5 at you as a rider, seeing what you're focusing on, how well you manage the errors, all of those sorts of things, right? So it's one of those dressage math things, right? We know whenever we come into a test, it's not that everything is going to be perfect, right? Perfect doesn't exist. A 10 is excellent. 10 is not perfect, right? So there's certain things like, oh, my cancer's not over there, but it's like it's one circle on one side and one circle on the other side. I would still probably do the training level test if I were you. And if you have to sacrifice it, you sacrifice it, right? Especially at this level where you should not be run out for not completing it as long as it looks like you put it at the floor. If it looks like you just ignored it entirely and you're just like running around, got wrung out anyway. So when you're working with him, the one thing you want to do, especially on days like today where you're like, some of his behaviors were a little bit off, where do I start, where do I focus on? I try to come right down to, okay, we just need a good feel, right? That doesn't mean round, it doesn't mean collected, it doesn't necessarily even mean that he's bent the right way most of the time. But you want to give him a good experience where you're like, okay, something was a little bit off, so let's just start moving around and focus on it. Maybe when you have to walk, you want to make sure underneath you you're feeling a nice sort of military way of marching, right? In the dressage test, the working trot, the working canter, have a bit of a motor to it. And you're going to have, between judges, you're going to have a little bit of variation in terms of scores when it comes down to forward, right? It's one of those things where forward can mean different things to different people. And you either have judges, I've found in my experience, who sit on more of a French classical side of the fence, or that sit on the kind of German engine kind of side of the fence, right? Some judges will score you higher when the horse is just like motoring, even though there's a lot of tension, there's, they tend to be more on the forehand, other things are happening. And then you have judges that are more my mindset, where I prefer to see a horse in balance, so I don't care that he's not flying around here in a true working trot, but he's got a good rhythm, he's got a good balance, there's an overall picture of a little bit more relaxation. So, although there are obviously the objective pieces of, 6 and 6 and 7 and 7, those sorts of things, that we don't deviate too far, you might get bumped half a point here, there, whatever, depending on a little bit of personal preference in the judgment. And that's where, we try not to let the subjective pieces fall in. But as you ride in front of different people, you'll start to bank it in your brain. Oh, this one likes forward, so sometimes you can push the engine just a little bit, which is going to sacrifice other things, but cheat sheet for me, don't do that. I like to see a little bit more, I like to see horses trying to overtrack a little bit more consistency, which usually means at a lower level that you're not flying around here. Because horses at the level do not have the strength and the balance to be totally dominant forward and overtrack. Right? It's a bit ridiculous to ask. So I'm okay with you taking the foot off the gas pedal with everything else in mind. Okay? So in terms of what that means right now, is that let's try to pick them up into a little bit of walk and trot, just to kind of make sure that, everything's underneath us where it should be. Pick up a little bit of a trot for like half a circle and then do a walk range. And then we'll just build them up from there, just to make sure that he feels good underneath you. The rhythm is good, the relaxation is good. We are breathing all the way down through our body. That's it. Good. And then you're just going to sit and you're going to right down to the walk, move your hands out of it. Good. Good. So when the horse feels a little bit tense underneath us, you want to avoid using our hands as much as possible. It goes completely against all of our survival instincts to let go, right? But if we can just get them to really focus on your seat, on your leg, you're going to close your lower leg. You're going to relax your thighs and open up kind of between your knees so that the shoulders can come up and through. And you're going to ask them to gently drop forward. Then you're going to breathe in really slow, and then on the exhale, you're going to sit. You close your thighs together, and then you ask them to walk. Good. And ignore all the stuff that happens in the neck. Yeah. That's nice one there. Good. And then you're going to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, down your roots, and walk. Super. Super. Good. Again, we are going for a good feeling. and nice and soft in your fingers. No desperate. Right? Yeah. Let him do whatever he wants with his head. You have a mild boundary of contact. You obviously I want you to touch the bit, but yeah, we're kind of giving him a little bit of a cue. We're going to turn this way, we're going to soften this a little bit. But everything is a very light idea. Nothing is holding you down, nothing is holding you down. If he says no, you say okay, and you ask again in a couple steps. Super. Good. Sit a little taller, breathe a little bit deeper in your chest. Down in your boots. Good. They are your anchors, right? There you go. Super. All the tension that's held at any point in the body, in the hocks, in the lower back, in the ribs, he's holding his breath, his saddle pinches, whatever it is going to come out of the head, right? So unfortunately, sometimes it becomes very obvious when he's tense. We get moments like that, and we go, oh my God, we're in the middle of that. We need to keep together, right? But when we try to prevent the head from moving, we want to tension and keep in the body. Every time you have a little bit of a head tilt, what you think is literally just releasing that ball of tension and having it leave the body. When he realizes that with you it's not a big deal, he's not going to stress either, right? At walk, trot, and training level, I don't look for a horse to be round at this level. If you're going to go to a gold show at training level, yeah, you should probably be over the back a little bit more and into the contact. But I'm not going to knock you down for some head playing moments at a schooling show when the rest of the picture is next. Okay? Rhythm comes first. Relaxation comes first. It is literally called training level. So if you are not working to train the horse throughout the test, we probably miss it. Right? So what I like to see from a rider at level, again, not expecting any level of perfection, it's just bringing tension is that I want to see from when you a little bit tense with your body and you release it. Maybe you ask him, or you allow him to have a little more freedom in the front, and then you see the horse relax. Things like that, for me, are going to bump your rider mark up. Right? And when we talk about math and the dressage test, the collectives are worth twice. Right? So if you are thoughtful and here for the horse, I'm going to mark you pretty good. Right? Like that's a lovely rhythm of thought. And then if you try, you can see how the tail starts to swing a little bit. And he's pretty working a little bit to kind of come back again. And if you pull against the right rein, I want you to just give the right elbow to just a little bit for a moment. Right? Because something in his body says, act tight, and you're going to get a tail with it. And you think about lifting his chest, lifting his wither, and sending him up forward through the ears again. Super. I often say this too, sometimes at training level in particular, like, I dare you to be too hot for me. You know what I mean? If you can teach your horse to relax with his chest up and open, those upper levels down the road are going to be a lot easier. Keep the track open up. Yeah, just close your boots and relax your seat a little bit. Good. So he sucks back, he gets tight. I'm sure part of the cancer is that too. He kind of sucks back behind. You end up kind of giving him a little bit. Yeah, and then he's going to go back. So when you feel him tense like that on the ball, you're going to relax your entire body and take all pressure off of him. So you kind of forget that. Because he has said no for whatever reason, and you go, okay, I'll wait. Yeah. I realize that in a test, canter at C is canter at C. If he says no, it's kind of hard to be like, we can't do it. But again, so right there, just relax everything. Take a breath. Good. Good. Yeah. Good. And then just walk. 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 Good. Now release everything. Back. Walk. Wait. Back. You breathe deep in your chest. You let it all down your chest. Deep in your chest. Let it all down your chest. Wait for a minute. Sometimes with a younger horse and a greener horse, it can even come down to just simple minutes of fatigue. When they are less sensitive, you get more extreme reactions, right? Thoroughbreds are the pinnacle of this, right? You sneeze the wrong way and your thoroughbred tells you off sometimes, right? So when he was going really, really lovely for a long time, and then he started to go, no. So when he starts giving up, on the first one, give him the benefit of the doubt, relax your body, go, sorry, maybe I was going to kind of. But if, like he did there, he kind of lets people time on the road, go down and walk with him. But I don't think he's trying to be naughty, right? I think he's trying to communicate. So sometimes they just need us to hear them, and then they go, okay, I'm safe, right? When we kick on and say, oh, quit it, never, that's not, you did any of that, I'm just using it as an example. They learn that they can't trust us with the communication, right? And what happens then? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and one of us ends up in the dirt, and it's not usually them. So when he's young, when he's green like that, he gives me a reaction like that, and then say, okay, what do you need that? That's okay. Alright? So we're going to change direction. We just cross diagonal, and then we just put a little bit of body. So I will let him breathe, and then I will also switch up. For me, it's usually okay. Let's just try it. Navel tension is one of the ways, especially when the weather, like February, March, it's soft, right? Warm and damp and shading the middle and all of them, you know, all of that didn't kind of feel like your body. We know it was a little bit sticky this morning, right? So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. When you get to the other side and he's walking, you know, forward and in front of you, just try to pick up a little bit of trot. Some people with my approach think that I'm trying to allow a horse to have bad behaviors, right? And it's not it. It's just the level of communication. So if for a couple of weeks you do it this way, where when he starts to really push back, you say, okay, you back off. 99% of the time, behaviors get better because he knows he's not going to have to be too extreme to be heard. Right now, walk. Yeah, and forward, and we're working walk. Breathe through your nose, in your chest, down through. They are mirrors to us all the time. When he types chest, and he's not really breathing, he wants to do a bit more dramatic. All the air comes out of your body. How we breathe and be good. Circle and walk. Now we're in the expectation of cross, not to take off the table. And you just can try a little bit and try to but it's fine. Now just walk here. That's walk here. It's building instead of deletion. Now just walk. Straight forward and sit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't worry. Okay. Make sure you're really breathing in through your nose. I don't do yoga, but I should. In through your nose, deep in your chest. Let it out through your nose. Good. And then try again. For the moment of drop. He just needs to find it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we have one. Okay. You might be wrong with it.
I've never asked him.
It could be a different energy in the air today, or in the clinic, different thing, right? They're more into the way that we think and feel than we are,
Yeah.
right? If we're worried, if it's like, oh crap, I was supposed to walk trot, now I signed up for training level 3 days ago, now I'm worried about it.
He didn't go out, did he?
Yeah, he's been
He
going.
did. He usually rides in evening, so maybe he's like,
Yeah, it literally could be 1,000 things. So all we're gonna do is we're just gonna ride on the people, right? And our expectation, we're just gonna try to improve what we have. We want him to trust us, we want him to stay light, I want him to stay calm, I want him to stay centered and level. And if this is all we do today, this is all we do today, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah. Because when it comes to show day, more often than not, we pull a horse out on show day, and it's not quite the same horse we thought it was, right? It's a different energy in here. We need to have the expectation on show day that we're only going to get at maximum 80% of what our good is, right? Which is why often we should be competing a level down from what we are schooling. He's also a boy, so he likes to be told what he's doing. We gotta kind of pamper him a little bit. You don't do it to him there because it's. Come on, right? Come on. Good. You got to give him a little scratch in the neck. Good boy. Thank you. Super. That's it. Good. Yeah. Easy right here. Good on. Think about extending his neck out from his shoulders. Let him be big. Let him be a little bit messy. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Your hands forward. Keep breathing. Super. Little scratches on the neck every now and then. And he thinks about kind of a and then goes forward anyway. Oh, a good boy. Come here and then walk with his head. Into your nose. Over your mouth. And move. Good. Go scratch and trot on. It can be messy. I don't care where the bend is. I don't care where the head is. I don't care. All I want is that when you very gently think about going forward, he goes, okay, I'll try. Super. Good boy. Good boy. Good. And then walk again. Good. Wrap. One more time this way, and then we'll change direction again. Just keep pushing it up. Okay. Yeah, let him have his neck. Let him have his neck. Super. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Good. We'll cross back. When was the last time I saw this today? October. Okay. It might all be time for a bit. Because we kind of time off. I mean, sometimes I get a little bit early. But also, as they mature, they move. So young horses, ideally, are pocketbooks, what I get. But ideally, refitting the saddle every 3 to 4 months. So run 3 to 4 times for a couple of years is ideal, especially if he's kind of got back and working through really, really well. Because he's clearly sensitive, and we don't want that to leave. Right? As we go up the levels, the more sensitive horses are the ones that we cherish, right? Because you can whisper to them and things happen. So it could be that his saddle is like, 2 millimeters too tight when he lifts him back, and he's getting a little upset. Which is why we take pressure off, and then we'll try to discipline behavior as well. I don't get the impression that he's backward, right? Or that he's back. So I want to say that the actions that we're getting are genuine. We're going to get through today with what it is. And I think that's the first step. We check the saddle. Once that's been done, see how the behavior changes. If it's still not great, then have a blind look at it. Because again, he's growing, he's maturing, he's changing, right? I mean, we need to keep him happy. So the annoying part about horses is